Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from Munich in Germany. Today is Sunday the 4th of February 2017. No, 18. Oh my gosh. I'm still so terrible at that. Even like with sending on contracts and work and stuff, I keep on putting 2017 and it's really embarrassing. Anyways, it is 2018. Welcome to the present, Julia. If you're watching for the very first time, thank you so much for joining in the crazy. I really hope that you will enjoy this podcast. And if you're coming back, thank you ever so much. You know how much I appreciate those of you who follow me every week and maybe have been following my crafty and knitty journey for a while. So today I'll talk about finished objects or works in progress. I always want to say acquisitions, but I actually don't have any. But I will do a sock yarn review as well, and possibly some life in general, so we'll see how it goes. Once again, it's going to be a short episode, but that's the way that works best for me at the moment, so I'm happy with that. Before we get into all of that though, I want to do some administration and announce a new knit-along that I've decided to start. First of all, we have a Ravelry group, which can be found on Ravelry under the Groups tab if you search the Happy Knitting Podcast group. And that's where you can find coupon codes, introduction threads, all the knit-alongs, giveaways. What else? There's a thread where you can do swaps. For example, if you really want to try some Felici yarn, but you're in Europe somewhere where you can't get it, but maybe you have something that people in the States can't get, you can do a swap. So there's all sorts of stuff going on in there. I would really like it if you joined. And I have decided to start a new knit-along. I've been thinking about a couple of different knit-along ideas for a while now, but I decided to go with the one that was closest to what I want to do right now. So we are going to do a Valentine's sock knit-along. You might know that I like to cast on socks for all kinds of occasions. So I do the Christmas Eve cast on, I do the New Year's Eve cast on, Easter cast on. I like to cast on things. What I've decided to do is we're going to do a knit-along for socks around Valentine's Day. So you can do one of three things. You can either use Valentine's themed yarn, and if you hate Valentine's and there's like an anti-Valentine's colorway, that works as well. Or you can use pink yarn, or you can use whatever yarn you want and use a Valentine's themed or love themed sock pattern. So any or all of these three things will qualify you to enter this knit-along. What I think we'll do is we'll officially cast on Valentine's Day, so on the 14th, and run it for a month. So it will go from the 14th of February to the 14th of March. But if you really want to cast on before that, or you don't think, or you want your socks to be almost finished by Valentine's Day or whatever, that's fine as well. So I'm not going to be strict with this one. Whips are allowed if they are not more than maybe like 30% done. I don't want you to just, knit a toe and be finished. But besides that, I'm trying to be relaxed with this one. And we do have some prizes. I will announce them probably next week or whenever I have time. But that's what I think we'll be doing. So I will open a chatter thread and a finished object thread in the near future. And I would really love if you guys joined in. Maybe you already have some ideas for yarn and patterns. My final decision to do this came around when I ordered some Valentine's yarn very spontaneously. Lots of pink yarn from Giddy Yarns. She has a couple of really fun Valentine's colorways. So yeah, that made the decision for me, and I really hope that you guys will want to join in and enjoy it as well. Last year I knit a pair of stripy socks. I think from, I can't remember who the yarn was by. It was a sparkly self-strapping sock yarn. I think the first self-strapping sock yarn that I've ever used, like indie dyed self-strapping yarn. And still, whenever I wear these socks, which I do a lot, I always think of our knit-along and Valentine's Day, and I just really like it. My voice is going really funny. Let's just talk through it, and hopefully it'll get better. I'm once again recording in the morning, which is when my voice is at its worst. Sorry. Anyway, so that's a knit-along, and I will move on to finished objects. And there's the elephant in the room, because I am wearing my only finished object this week, and it is the Sunset Highway sweater. So this is a really popular pattern. Lots of people have been knitting it. So I jumped on the bandwagon. This is also my first finished Colorwork sweater that I've done. So I'm really proud of that, because one of my goals for 2018 was to knit at least one Colorwork sweater. And I'm currently working on my second, plus I have yarn for about 10. So I think this might be the year of Colorwork sweaters for me, which is great. So for this one, I used commercial yarn because, to be honest, I just didn't want to risk so much on my first Colorwork sweater. So the yarn for this was Lana Grossa Meilenweit, which is their sock yarn. I used their tweed edition. So all 4 colors in here are all different tweeds. The brown one, I don't know if you can tell, but that has completely like only blue flecks, whereas my main color has more like beige flecks. It's really fun. And I was worried that this yarn was going to be scratchy, and it kind of is, but so far it is not bothering me, which is a huge relief, because I was quite worried about that. So if you are really sensitive or quite sensitive, maybe think about using sock yarn twice, because this is definitely a very standard sort of rustic sock yarn. But that does mean that this sweater will probably last forever, and I can just throw it in the washing machine, and that makes me really excited as well. So in terms of the pattern, I think I knit the small size, but I didn't really pay much attention. I just wanted to pick one size for the Colorwork. I also did not knit a swatch. Yes, I am a terrible person. I didn't swatch at all for my first Colorwork sweater. That is terrible. But it worked out alright. So yeah, what can I say? I basically followed the instructions for the yoke and for splitting the sleeves. And then once again just did my own thing. So I knit my body as long as I wanted it to. I did 2x2 ribbing, because the sweater is designed, or the way that it is designed, it doesn't have that much ribbing, so it kind of rolls up and looks kind of oversized, and I didn't really want that. I also modified the sleeves quite a bit, because the sleeves were huge on me. So I did a ton of decreases and then just knit sort of normal full-length sleeve with a really long ribbed cuff, and I really like that. I think that makes it really cozy, or I can always just kind of roll them up and it looks nice as well. So yeah, I am super happy with this. I knit this on 3.5mm US size 4 needles. What else? I don't really have that much to tell you guys, to be honest. I just knit this sweater, I banged it out really quickly, and at the moment I'm just loving fingering weight sweaters, so you will see in my works in progress that I keep on knitting more. But yeah, I'm really, really excited about the fit of this one. It fits really well. I'm not going to stand up because I'm wearing pajama bottoms, and standing up is always like not very flattering, so I'll try to post some pictures maybe. But it's a perfect fit. Again, I think the reason for that is that lately whenever I knit sweaters, I just try them on a ton of times and then modify them, so that leaves me with sweaters that are exactly the length, width and so on that I want, and I'm really, really happy with that. So yeah, I'm really, really, really happy with this, and I'm so relieved that it doesn't scratch me too much. I'm just wearing like a tank top underneath right now, and it's fine, so yay. So that is it for my finished objects, and I will move on to works in progress, although there's not that much to show you besides one project either. So first of all, I'm not showing you my shawl today because I have not worked on it, but I have worked on my socks. These are my Life in the Long Grass socks, so the yarn is dyed by Life in the Long Grass, which is a company in Ireland. This is the first sock. I think I had this done last week. This is the second sock. I took them with me on a business trip on Thursday, and I only knit on the train for about an hour, and this is about how much I got done. So not a crazy amount, but yeah. Looking at these, in my mind, I thought I was ready to put in the heel, but clearly I'm not. So yeah. The colorway for this is Estate Color, and it's in their fine merino socks. These are going to be for me. I am doing 64 stitches on my usual 2.25 millimeter US size 1 needle. So that's that. I also still have my second sock project going, which is my commercial sock project. This is some yarn that I got to try for my commercial sock yarn review series. The yarn is by Schöller und Stahl in their Fortissima sock. It's colorway number 8043. And this is what it looked like in the bowl. And for this one I have since finished the first sock. So I didn't put it on a sock blocker, but this is what the sock looks like. And this is really fun. This is actually bringing me much more joy than the Indie Dyed sock that I just showed you. I just think this is a fun sock pattern. It's a vanilla sock. I did a fish lips kiss heel with Mina Phillips mini heel flap. What is it? I don't know. There's a mini heel flap instruction for this one as well. And these are just super rustic, super wintry. They feel very thick and woolly, and I really, really like them. I really like this yarn. It's maybe not for everyone, but I'm really enjoying it at the moment. So that is the first sock. And I knit the second sock yesterday. This is how far I got after casting on. They are almost matchy actually. I was going to match them, but then when I cast the second one on, I completely turned off my brain and just cast on wherever I was. But it turns out they're pretty much matching, so they're maybe like one row off. So yeah, how's that for luck? So again, I'd like to get all these socks off the needles. At the moment, I only feel like knitting sweaters, which is so strange. Like, when is the last time I did not love knitting on socks? But right now, yeah, I'm just not feeling the socks. So I want to get my current sock whips off the needles, and then maybe I'll feel more like casting on new ones, or maybe I can just focus on different things. Having said that, I will of course definitely be knitting my Valentine socks, so don't worry about that. I'm so sorry my voice is going so bad. It must be terrible to listen to, but I just don't know what to do about it right now, so I'm just going to push through that. So my most exciting project, which, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. Those of you who watched last week's podcast might have an idea, because last week I raved on about a new to me yarn that I ordered, and I ordered like a ton. And of course I had to cast on and swatch and stuff immediately. And the yarn that I'm talking about while I'm rummaging around in my bag is this yarn. This is Holzgarn, which is a Danish yarn, and this is their most popular or known for base, I think, which is their super soft, which is a 100% wool yarn, and it comes in these fun little 50-gram cakes. You can order it straight from Denmark, which I think is the cheapest option, and their service is really good. And there are lots of different opinions about this yarn, which is why I thought it was really interesting. So it comes in these cakes, and it's very tightly wound, and the yarn is very, very rustic. And the explanation for that is the fact that there's still all the spinning oil and stuff in there. So what I did is I got this to knit lots and lots and lots of Colorwork sweaters, because I love Colorwork, I love sweater knitting at the moment, and I really love fingering weight yarn, and this is lighter than fingering. This is probably almost like a lace weight yarn, but it does work on a fingering weight gauge. So what I did is I swatched, and then I washed the swatch and checked my gauge, and then went from there. So maybe to show you the difference, this is the fabric that I'm knitting on right now, which it has obviously not been washed. And you can see it's quite gappy and see-through, and it doesn't look amazing. Can you see that? There you go. And for the same gauge, I did a gauge swatch, and I washed it in dishwashing soap, because that's what I was told works the best, to just get all the grease out. And can you see the difference? It looks completely different to me. I hope it shows up on camera, but the color has changed first of all, because the spinning oil must have some sort of like brown coloring as well. So I think this color is much lighter and prettier and less browny. And also you can see now that the fabric is really beautiful. It's not gappy anymore. It's got a tiny bit of halo to it, and it's also very soft, it's very drapey, and not like the stuff like this is still. So I personally just think that this is super interesting, and I'm really, really impressed. So once I finished my swatch, I of course had to cast on for a sweater. And the sweater that I cast on for is the Branches and Buds sweater, which is a pattern by, I don't know her first name, her last name is Hogue, but I will write it in the show notes. And this is where I am. So it's a top-down sweater. It doesn't have any shoulder shaping, which I'm not sure how I feel about it, but at that time I was too lazy to figure out my own shoulder shaping. But you can see it has a beautiful colorwork yoke and then just a stockinette body, which is crinkled because it's been living in my project bag. But you can see I made quite a bit of progress. So I knit the entire yoke of this, the entire colorwork section, and split for the sleeves in one day on like last Sunday. I was just obsessed with this thing. And ever since then, I've just been knitting on the body, and I don't even think I have that much more to go, and then I can start on the sleeves. So I am so in love with this. Once again, I am very, very curious to see how this will block out. It doesn't look bad right now, but the colorway does definitely look sort of gappy. So I think or hope that with blocking, this will become all nice and beautiful. And oh my gosh, you guys, I am just obsessed. I love this thing. I am on my second 50-gram ball of yarn, and I'm almost done with the body, so that tells you something. And this pattern, I believe, is written for sports weight yarn, but my gauge is actually quite loose, which it tends to be on sweaters. So I think I got about 20 stitches per 4 inches. So that is definitely a loose gauge, so that actually worked out really well. So I'm trying to be better about math and pick the patterns that I want and then just knit them to the gauge that I like, rather than always picking the perfect yarn for a pattern and so on. That did mean that I had to do some math to figure out when to start the sleeves, when to split for the sleeves rather. But so far it's looking good, and I really hope that this will work out, and if it does, it'll be my favorite sweater ever. So there you go, second colorwork sweater is already on the needles. I am once again using 3.5mm needles, and oh my gosh, I'm just so obsessed with this colorwork. There's the option of placing like colorful buds on these branches. Like you just embroider with whatever colors you want, but I'm not actually too sure if I want to do that, because I think it really looks just so pretty like this as well. So I'm already planning a second version of this sweater because I'm so obsessed with it. And yeah, I am ridiculously happy about this. So yeah, that is it actually for my works in progress. Like I said, I'm not showing you my shawl, and I haven't really worked on any of my blankets because I just don't have that much time at the moment. So, moving on from that, I actually have a finished spinning FO. So I finished this last night and it is still wet, which is why I haven't scaled it up yet. But this is a sock yarn spin that I have started in early September, so it's been on the wheel for a while. And I finally finished it. This is a merino nylon braid from Elfenwolle. I'm pretty sure it was called Beach Party. And I spun it into a chain ply or 3-ply sock yarn. It's pretty high twist, so I think it should make some really nice sturdy socks, but it also feels quite soft. I got about 300 meters, so it's about a sports weight yarn, I think, which I always like for my hand spun socks. I like it when they're a little bit thicker. And yeah, I really like the colors. I think they're going to be really fun socks once I knit them up. And yeah, so that is my spin for the week. My first one that I'm showing to you in a long time. And for those of you who are interested, I have a Woolmaker's Bliss single treadle wheel, which I absolutely love. And yeah, very, very happy with this. I haven't actually weighed this. I just know that it's about 300 meters, so I need to check the weight. It's probably maybe like around 90 grams or something. So yeah, that should be fine for a pair of socks. and I'm very, very excited about it, even though right now it doesn't look too exciting, but you get the idea. So that is it for spinning, and I will be right back with my review. So, for my sock yarn review for today, I have decided to talk a little bit about a very famous yarn that lots of people are interested in, which is this one. It is a Knit Picks Felici. And before I start, as always, just a disclaimer, this is just my personal opinion. No one has asked me, or like no firm is sponsoring me to say anything about the yarn. It is just the fact that I knit a lot of socks and I wear a lot of socks, and lots of people were interested in my opinion about some of these yarns, and but they are just my opinions, and I always like to say this first. And if you have different opinions or any experience with these yarns at all, I would really love to hear yours as well. So, Knit Picks Felici is a self-striping sock yarn that lots of people are obsessed with because they always come out with really, really fun colors. They come in 50-gram balls like these, and they are a superwash merino and nylon blend. So all the other yarns so far, I think, that I've reviewed were all just virgin wool yarns, and this one is actually a merino sock yarn. You can definitely feel that immediately. Felici is ridiculously soft. Like, to me, it doesn't even really feel like wool anymore because, yeah, it is so soft, it doesn't feel like your typical yarn or wool. But that does mean that it's really popular, and it also makes for a really fun knitting experience. I have brought a finished pair of Felici socks to show you as well, although most of my Felici socks do get gifted. And there's where for me the kind of downfall is. I love knitting with Felici yarn, but because it is so soft, I don't think the yarn holds up particularly great. I feel like lots of people have different opinions on this, so maybe it's just me, but for me personally, these are so soft, and as soon as you wear them, they kind of felt all over the place. I gifted a pair of Felici socks to my sister on her birthday, which was in November, and I met her for Christmas in December, and she was so sad that her socks were like almost completely felted, and I promised her I don't mind, I'll knit new ones, but yeah, that kind of showed that to me. So these I have knit a while ago, but I don't wear them that much, and as you can see, the colors are still super fun, and they are still very, very, very soft. But you can also see, if I show them to you up close, that especially at the bottom of the foot, they have kind of felted into like a solid piece of fabric, pretty much. I know that lots of people don't mind. I kind of mind, but I don't absolutely love it. Like, by now, the stitches are all sort of like felted together, and they're still ridiculously comfortable to wear, but I kind of really like it when I can still tell my stitches apart. And yeah, like I said, there's nothing too terribly wrong with them, but they are definitely not my favorite socks to wear anymore. I also find that these kind of, when you wear them, they get very loose, or much looser than other socks do, so I probably should knit them on a size 0 in the future, but maybe that would definitely, I think that should help the longevity of this yarn. But yeah, I am not super in love with these, to be honest. Also, and that is a thing that lots of people say about Felici, is the fact that they often choose 2 colors next to each other that are almost the same, which is a bit of a bummer. And what I found with all of the Felici yarn that I've used so far is that sometimes you get pieces of like different colors in the wrong sections. I'm trying to find a place where I can show it to you. I'm not sure if you can see it in here, but all over this yarn there was like pink speckles in the yellows, and you can see it here as well, which doesn't bother me a huge amount, but if you're the sort of person that minds, then that is something to keep in mind. So yeah, I don't particularly love the finished object. You can see the halo, but all of that being said, I still love knitting with Felici yarn just because it is so fun to knit. I don't know that many companies, I don't really know why, but I don't think there are that many companies who just make really, really fun, commercial, affordable self-striping yarns. Like, I sometimes find these self-striping yarns much more fun than the complicated Regia patterns that they put out. That is just my perception, but I just really like these colors. Or like this one that I brought out to show you. This one is called Ever After, and they're just very fun. Also, I really love knitting with it because it is so soft. It's just a really nice round yarn, and I really enjoy having it on my needles. So yeah, I'm not really sure what the conclusion of this review for this yarn is. I think it is that I do love it, but I think you just have to keep in mind that those won't last forever. Those won't be your socks that you also wear in 5 years, or at least they won't be for me or for my family. One last thing, maybe, because I know that people are going to ask, is where do you get this yarn? As far as I know, they only ship to the US and to the UK and nowhere else in Europe. So I'm lucky that I have a couple of friends from the States who have, on occasion, let me order yarn and send it to them, and then they sent it to me, or I got mine as gifts. So I still don't know where you can get it in Germany. I'm pretty sure there's one reseller in the UK. So if I do find them, I will write the link in the show notes. Otherwise, you may just have to look on Google. I'm not quite sure, but I know it sucks when I talk about yarn and then you don't really know where to get it, but I don't really know because all the Felici that I own has been shipped to me from the States. Sorry about that. So that is my Felici experience. I'd be really, really interested to hear what your experience is with this yarn especially. So do let me know. Yeah, so that is it for my yarny content. Actually, there's one last thing that I wanted to mention. We are still running the giveaway, the pattern giveaway for 5 of Leni Hoy's patterns. She has sock patterns, a shawl pattern, and I think 2 or 3 hats. I was going to close it today and draw a winner, but I've just decided to keep it open for a couple more days. I will probably close it within the middle of next week. And then I'll just announce the winners or get in touch with them directly rather than announcing them on the podcast and then waiting for everyone to get back to me. So check your Ravelry inbox if you have participated. I will just give you a name to Leni and she will then send the pattern out to you. Unless you haven't specified which one you'd like, in that case, you'll have to let me know. And until then, if you're watching this right now, please feel free to hop over to the Ravelry group right now and still join in. I would love to have a couple more entries because we're giving away 5 patterns, which is ridiculously generous from Leni. So I want everyone to have a chance. So that's it for the knitting content. I'm just going to babble on about life in general. So if you're not interested in that, then I'll just see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. So as usual, I've made myself a coffee and then now it's just cold because I haven't actually drank it. Actually, also, I feel like I really can't talk today. I'm not sure. I think I'm just really exhausted. I had a really, really exhausting week last week. I'm still absolutely loving my new job. It's so great. I love my colleagues. I love my company. I seriously, I could not be happier. That being said, it has been really, really, really exhausting because, of course, everything is new and the goals are quite high and yeah, there's just a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, so I'm actually when was it? I've been quite busy going to different things and places all over Munich, and then on Thursday I once again went up on a work trip near Wiesbaden, which is in the Frankfurt area. So I typically go there every 2 weeks. This time I only went for 1 day, so that meant like getting up at 5:30. Taking the train up, which is about, I think, 400 kilometers, then working all day, and then actually we drove back down to Munich, and I think it was like 12:30 at night when I got back. So that was super tiring. And then Friday was just a normal work day, but it was actually quite busy as well, especially since I knew my mom was coming to visit at night. And so while I was working, I was always also trying to get the apartment ready, and work was intense and my phones kept on ringing and it was just crazy. But then yeah, on Friday night we went out to dinner with Kai and my mom. It was really, really, really nice. And then yesterday, which was Saturday, oh my gosh, it was so exhausting. My mom and I, we did a bit of a shopping trip within Munich, but we actually walked into the city, which is already like a 1 hour walk. And then, oh my gosh, I was just so tired by the end of it. I think quite honestly, it was the combination of like walking so a lot and working a lot and not getting that much sleep because of my work trips and so on. But it was just crazy intense. But it was also really, really, really fun. We had a great time together. I spent way too much money on really, really awesome work clothes and just stuff that I really wanted or needed or maybe didn't need. And yeah, so by the time I got home yesterday, it was like 7 p.m. I think. And I basically just collapsed onto the couch. And I am so happy that today is Sunday and I'm not planning on doing anything but knitting. We may go to the cinema later and watch the latest Maze Runner movie. I'm quite interested in that. Plus, we never go to the movies, which is so sad. So we might do that, but besides that, I'm just so happy to be at home. I know I have another busy week coming, but I'm also really excited. So that's a new thing. I used to dread Mondays, and now I'm actually quite excited, and I just really like spending time with my colleagues as well, so that's really, really good. What else is there to talk about? I don't think there's that much. We're currently sort of juggling, and we really want to plan out some trips that we want to do and eventually plan out our holidays for this year. But then, of course, my new job means that it's still very much up in the air and I can't really plan too far ahead. So I'm hoping that that'll get better, but I think it will. I'm already starting to definitely set into a bit of a routine, and I know how stuff works now, and it's just making life a whole lot easier. Right now, as I'm talking outside, it is snowing, which is so pretty. I still love the snow. A lot of people are really sick of winter right now and excited about summer, and I am too. But then I'm like, well, I can't wear my hand-knit Colorwork sweaters in summer. So yeah, I'm quite happy for it to stay cold for a while. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you might want to join into our Valentine's knit along. I will think of a better title for sure, I promise. I'd love to see you over in the Ravelry group or read your comments. I always love hearing from you, even if sometimes I don't manage to get back to you, which I'm really sorry about. If you ask a specific question, I try to reply to that immediately. Everything else tends to fall by the wayside every now and then. I just hope you guys understand. I'm sure you do. So, again, thank you so much for watching. I will most likely see you again next week. Don't forget the giveaway, and have a great Sunday. Happy knitting. Bye.